This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Well, hello and welcome to the Research Talks here from Stockbox with Alan Green. On a week, Alan, where my life has changed significantly, but for the better, hopefully, of course, with the birth of my son. So it's been an exciting week, that's for sure. How's your week been?
Well, Mark, many congratulations. I can safely say, as a father many times over, your life will never ever be the same again. But it's a wonderful thing, and it's you'll find sleep becomes a precious commodity, and you become Bank of Dad, as I think I said to you earlier.
Yes.
But it's a wonderful thing, and wouldn't change it for the world. But over here, we had a nice sunny start, but it's clouded over, and I'm hoping the rain stays at bay because it seems to have been raining non-stop really since Christmas. But there we go.
Well, yes, let's hope so. Let's hope so. But so today we're going to cover three companies: Great Southern Copper. I don't think we've spoken about them before. Anglesey Mining, who I know we have covered before, and also Nostra, Terra Oil and Gas, NTOG, who again haven't been talked about on Research Talks before. So a couple of new companies there. So, I mean, yeah, which one do you want to take first, Alan?
Well, let's start with the copper theme,
Yeah.
which covers really Great Southern Copper, of course, and Anglesey Mining. But starting with Great Southern Copper, chief executive there, of course, is Sam Garrett, and you may or may not remember this, Mark, but Sam Garrett, some years ago, briefly worked as the geologist working with ECR Minerals' Craig Brown,
I didn't
and
know that.
I did
I
actually
forgot.
meet and speak to Sam at the UK Investor Show. This is going back a few years, but Sam has done a great job with Great Southern Copper. So the company is focused in Chile, and of course Chile is very famous for copper. You've got the company Antofagasta that's named after the town of Antofagasta, which is one of the largest copper producers. But of course the focus is in Chile, through which runs the Andean mountain range, and that mountainous range that really is the backbone of South America is host to the world's principal. Well, is really the principal source of mined copper and gold, also molybdenum, silver, and other minerals too. Um, the company's focused on three primary projects, one of which was brought into the fold in September last year. That's the San Lorenzo and Especularia projects. San Lorenzo is 50 kilometers northeast of La Serena, some 26,000 hectares of explore and exploit concessions. And here, Great Southern Copper GSC owns the right to 100% of the projects via a $2 million purchase option agreement, which is payable over 6 to 8 years, and there are no royalty payments due to any other party on this. So that's full ownership. Especularia is 170 kilometers south of the San Lorenzo project. It's on the same coastal metallogenic belt, just under 14,000 hectares of explore and exploit concessions. Some have been granted, others are being granted as we speak. Again, Great Southern Copper owns the rights to 100% of the projects via a $2 million purchase option agreement, again payable over 6 to 8 years, once again with no royalty payments. Then we come to the Monte Lithium project, which is brought into the fold last September by Sam and the team. This is 130 kilometers east of Antofagasta, the town of Antofagasta, located in the Salar de Atacama district. This is Chile's premier lithium and lithium brine production region. And again, with Monte Lithium, the company owns the rights to 100% of the project over the next 3 years. Cash and share payments of 2.2 million, no royalty payments either there. And the company recently increased the actual territory there by some 40%, owns 33,100 hectares of territory to look at. So of course, I mentioned copper is the principal mineral of interest in Chile, principally hosted across the country in large scale, low grade porphyry type deposits, also iron oxide, copper, gold prospects and deposits as well. You have huge mines there, of course. Antofagasta, I've already mentioned. That is a huge company in the area. The Escondida project, also the Carbon de Andacolo project. So hugely important in the global mineral economy. So as the company has progressed and grown, I'll do just a quick note before I go into the news flow that's really driven the share price. So the shares really started to spike up toward the end of last year, on the back also of the exploration success and the grades that were coming out of the ground. The share price has hit a high of 3.8p, currently trading at 2.8p. That's off a low, which the low last June was 0.78 of a pence. So, Sam and the team have done a good job. In November last year, the company, in addition to the 500,000 it had raised earlier in the year, raised a further 905,000. And in that raising, all of the directors and the senior geologists on the team took part. The money was raised to drill high-grade copper and gold targets at Espa Kilarita, including the La Colorada lithocap
Hmm.
projects on there, including the Terra, Victoria, Abundante, Aurelia prospects. And again, lots of different types of mineralization, La Colorada, principally for porphyry and epithermal copper. The others with different forms of copper mineralization. But if you look at the latest presentation on the website, you'll see that the team is saying in this area there are drill-ready prospects sticking out of the ground, quote unquote. So that really gives you an idea of how much potential is in this area. Then of course in December we had the interims, the rock chip assays coming in from Especularita. We saw rock chip assays of just under 7% copper, 1.8 grams per ton gold at the Victoria prospect. The Terra prospect rock chip assays there, 5.97% copper, nearly 14 grams per ton of gold, and also high grade copper and gold prospects were identified with an Aeromag survey at Abundante and Terra prospects, with Aurelia assays coming in at 6.76% copper. So as the work progressed through the year, the company also moved on to some sampling at the San Lorenzo project. The CUI prospect was identified there with results of 4.1 grams per ton gold, 1.75% copper. And also at the same time, the company appointed Martin Page as chief finance officer. So beefing up the board in preparation for what is expected to be some substantial growth in the coming year. Some substantial advances at Especularita in the first part of the year. The Abundante prospect, which is of course an historical copper mine. The work there identified visible copper mineralization in drilling of 4 holes, some 480 meters drilled there. Drilling also started at Terra. And then of course we had the assays back from Victoria, 71 rock chip samples in the region of 4% copper, 4.5 grams per ton gold, 26.7% of silver, similar mineralization there. But then really the seminal change in the grade of prospects for the company. The company announced the purchase of the Cerro Negro and Artesima projects. And now Cerro Negro includes the high-grade Mostaza copper and silver deposit, previously mined by the giant PLC that is Antofagasta, of course. The Artesima prospect also includes historic workings which are adjacent to the targets already discussed at Victoria. And these include the Valle de Breca, Amarillo, Paclas, and Los Rulos prospects. The company has really now consolidated its control of the area known as the Colorado Lithocap. And of course, the arrangement on this is that Grey Southern Copper will own 100% of these projects going forward. That's 83 hectares. This will also cost 2 million over 3 years, but there is a 1% net smelter return for the vendor here. So this is a really exciting development. You know, it's these are historical mines that have been mined already, but of course, as we often find, the small explorers go out there with modern mining techniques, modern data analysis and modern equipment, and they can often discover or make new discoveries where existing mine workings are in place. So a very exciting year in prospect for Sam Garrett and the team. And I think looking at where the share price is now at 2.8p, we're off that year high, so plenty of potential for further growth.
Well, thank you, Alan, for that. I didn't actually know. I'd forgotten that Sam Garrett was the GO for ECR. So that's obviously good. Got a lot of experience there. Interviewed him a few times, getting a bit of an understanding of what the projects are all about, what stage they're at. And I'm glad you were able to say that name of the project, Especularita. And I've got it now, actually, but it's taken me a little bit of time to actually get that out. But yeah, it seems like they're motoring on, doesn't it? You know, not long since IPO'd, they've got a lot of things, a lot of exploration work going on. These pilot holes, as you talked about, and the recent news there that they've been acquired these extra areas now that they've been wanting to acquire for quite a long time. So I mean, he said he was very excited. A year of exploration in the last interview I did, which was only yesterday, I think. So. It's definitely one that is not on the radar because I don't think even I fully understand the company or the projects yet. But you know, it takes a bit of time to get going, doesn't it? With the company that's just come on and projects in an area that perhaps you know, Chile. I know there's lots of projects there, but it's perhaps less familiar than other companies. Maybe a bit like you know, we talk about Kazakhstan with East Star. You know, a great area to work in, great prospectivity in that area. But you know, it's just perhaps less on the radar of investors. But it's definitely one to watch at sort of a 10 million market cap presently. So thank you for that, Alan. Nice little introduction. What are we taking next, Anglesey or Entog?
Yeah, well, sticking with the copper mining theme, Anglesey Mining, again, shares here trading currently at 1.55p. They've traded as high as 2.4p last summer, and of course blipped up nicely to just over 2p in December, in January, on the news of developments at the Paris Mountain project in Anglesey. And of course, this is exciting. There's so much history at this project. I actually visited the site last year and went into the core shed and looked at the grades that were coming out of the ground. But it's the world. It's one of the world's largest copper mines in the 1780s. So lots of historical activity. It was an open cast mine, and of course the scene there now, it looks like it's like a lunar landscape in part of the area. And indeed, the locals are very proud of it. It's a very popular site locally, and of course, it's been used for film scenes. I think the Mortal Kombat film was filmed there, and the mine's had various evolutions over the years. And of course, in the 1970s, some drilling work was undertaken there, which proved up copper over a large area. But since that point, of course, the old grades can't be relied on. So Joe Battersill, the director of the company, and Andrew King decided to go back and revisit and test again the copper zones that are believed to be there. That's the Garth Daniel zone, the Engine zone, and also White Rock and the new Northern Copper zone. And of course, these have been identified. There's a very good presentation on the website where you can look at these prospects in detail and the geological anomalies. And what is exciting is that these are being proved up in drilling. So if you go to if you ever visit Paris Mountain, it's worth a visit just to look at the old landscape alone. But to the north of the old mine site. There's a relatively modern mining gantry and the old shaft that was sunk. And the company are planning to develop this based on the upgrade to the PFS, which is currently underway and is being proved up with the drilling work. So in January, the company announced that the first drilling hole, NCZ001, they'd hit a 22-meter intersection at 3.7% copper equivalent. That also included 4 meters at 4.9% copper equivalent, 6 meters at 6.1 copper equivalent, and also 17.5% zinc equivalent. So it's very much a polymetallic project, but of course, with the current focus on copper, it's really exciting. And the team believe that there could be as much as a kilometer in length of strike underground, lying underneath the mountain there. So the intersection is also estimated to be 75 meters up dip from the historical hole H34, which was drilled in the early 1970s. And that then, as I say, came out at 146 meters at 1.2% copper equivalent. Then at the start of the week, hole NCZ002 was drilled. The company identified 107 meters of visible sulfides, and these samples have been sent to the ALS lab in Ireland, and they're expected to confirm the continuity of copper, zinc, lead, silver, and gold mineralization at Paris Mountain. So the company are currently underway with the third hole. 200 meters have been drilled into hole 003. And Andrew King, the chairman, said that the company really identified a significant zone of copper dominant mineralization in an area 600 to 700 meters along strike, and also 300 to 400 meters down dip. So the widths are an average of 20 meters at 1.1 to 1.3% copper overall. But once we get the data back from hole 2 and then obviously the data from hole 3, then we've really got something to go on. And what is exciting, I think, why Anglesey mining is potentially at such a seminal moment. The UK, if you look at the critical minerals list in the USA and EU and elsewhere, copper is on every critical minerals list apart from the UK. So it's widely believed that the UK will add copper to the UK critical minerals list. Now we've seen what's happened. Yeah, obviously, Mark, we were at Mines of Money last year, and I interviewed Neil Elliott at Cornish Lithium, and of course the funding that that company has attracted to develop the project. The UK Infrastructure Bank invested £24 million. It's widely believed that copper will go on the UK critical minerals list, at which point UK mining projects for critical minerals, and this would include Anglesey Mining's Paris Mountain copper project, they will all of a sudden be on the radar for funding. And the proving up that the team are doing there now and proving up this asset is hugely important, because certainly the geologists there believe that there's this huge area up to 1 kilometer underground that contains an awful lot of copper. Added to that, the company's already agreed a route to market. We've got Holyhead Port nearby too. There is a jetty there that could be used, and with trade obviously fallen since Brexit, the island of Anglesey as a whole is very keen to get the mine back up and running. Very popular with the locals too. The locals really want to see it come back because, of course, it will provide a huge boost for the local economy. So the company's currently worth just 6.4 million, and you'd think that would just account for Paris Mountain alone, but it doesn't. The company also has a 49% stake in the Grängesberg Iron Project in Sweden. A PFS has been commissioned in conjunction with partners over there. The post-tax NPV has already been valued at $688 million, with an internal rate of return of 25.9% post-tax. Anglesey also has first right of refusal to increase the stake to 52%, and it's estimated that if Grängesberg is up and running, cash flow post-tax could be up to 2.8 billion to just over $2 billion. average cash flow of about $130 million per annum. On top of that, the company also owns a 12% stake in Labrador iron ore mines in Canada. And again, that there are that there's there are there's a 12-year mine life there with one of the mines and a net present value of 109 million post tax. But that's a relatively minor stake in comparison, certainly to Grangesburg, but of course the primary asset, which is Paris Mountain. So the focus is very much on Paris Mountain. I think this is going to be a seminal year for Anglesey, and if, as I say, we get copper on the critical minerals list in the UK, that could change everything.
Wouldn't it? Does it surprise you that the UK doesn't have it on the list? Is it typical kind of UK, a bit behind the curve on a number of things? But anyway, it probably will have to be added, won't it? I mean, it's got to be really when you consider where it's used. So yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if we can get a homegrown mine, brilliant. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? It'd be great. And
It's already there.
it's already there, like you say. Yeah.
That's the great thing. The infrastructure is there. So any additional workings, the permits will be renewed. The permits are. It's a bit like if you have it's on the same basis that if you have, say, plan for an extension on your house and that plan permission has lapsed and you go to renew it, it's a formality, and it's the same with the mining permits for Anglesey as well. And also, having been there, spoken to local people there, it's very popular with the locals. They all want to see it succeed, and the local MP has been there beforehand. So, as I say, you sense that we're on the cusp of a real sea change there.
Excellent. Good stuff. Well, let's finish off then with some oil and gas, Alan.
Okay, Nostra Terra Oil and Gas. So this is a company run by long-standing Chief Executive Matt Lofgren, and the company's got a valuation at the moment of just 1.2 million. The shares are traded as high as 0.24p on the year and as low as 0.1p. Now trading at 0.12p. But we've seen a blip up in the last few days, and for good reason. So if you've seen the film Killers of the Flower Moon, you'll understand, of course, that in Oklahoma and eastern Texas, which is immediately to the south, it's just covered in oil fields, and of course that's where the original oil prospecting took place. And as the film describes, how the Americans took it away from the Indians that were the indigenous people there. But that's beside the point. The fact is that this area is covered with potential oil fields, and indeed, Nostra Terra Oil and Gas have a large holding in an area called the Permian Basin, and in particular the Pine Mills oil field. Now, in January, the company signed a joint venture with Cyprus, who they've been working with for some years, to use 3D seismic data to jointly develop growth opportunities across the acreage. The partnership area is some 80,000 acres, 30 times larger than Pine Mills. And here, Nostra Terra Oil and Gas will be operator with an 87.5% working interest in the wells, and of course the oil that comes out of the ground. So what we've seen since that agreement was announced is a gradual stake building by a combination of high net worths and fund managers. Without going into too much detail, I don't think it's you don't need to put two and two together to work out what's going on. These people have obviously looked at the acreage, looked at the joint venture with Cyprus, and they're liking what they see. So the company's focusing on these eastern Texas assets. With the leases that the company currently owns, these are also owned in perpetuity. So unlike mining licenses, those licenses don't run out. They don't need to be renewed. They're owned in perpetuity. And already with this new system, Matt and his team, they've drilled 2 wells. The second well that was drilled paid back the investment within 3 months, and that's now fully in profit. So on the back of this new arrangement, they are searching the Pine Mills acreage they're moving further afield and looking at additional acreage in the region. But it really is, I think, an opportunity to invest into oil production, investing into a company that has a joint venture using the very latest seismic data to identify the opportunities, where to drill, the areas of greatest potential, and also, of course, the relative ease of being able to secure the territory, secure the ground, and get the team on the ground at a fairly low cost, and drilling fairly promptly after the well has been identified. And certainly, having listened to Matt speak in recent months, you sense there is a bit of a turnaround coming here. So obviously these new prospects have to be proved up, but certainly with well two having paid back within 3 months, that's a pretty significant step forward, and one that I'm sure hasn't gone unnoticed by the legions of new high net worths and fund managers that are investing in the company.
Indeed. Well, as you say, with a very low market cap there, it's pretty de-risked, isn't it? It's
It is, yeah. 1.2
indeed.
million is nothing. I mean, that's just really valuing the company on the value of the asset alone, without any premium for production, for return on investment, or anything. And I think that's why these investors are seeing the opportunity. It's that's not to
Indeed.
say that, of course, they won't jump out when the share price rises, but that's what we're all in this business for anyway. So
Indeed we are. Indeed we are. Well, thank you very much, Alan, for your time today. I do hope the weather in the UK improves and you're able to enjoy the weekend. But for now, thank you very much. And until next week, we'll see what next week brings. Maybe Premier African Minerals will be in production. We'll have to wait and see.
Wow. Good luck with that. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Alan. If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.